Tonight on The Roast, Eddie Maguire apologises for racist comments, East Timor accuses Australia of spying on them, and the Victorian Parliament recommends changing sexting laws. Hopefully that new law is that everyone has to start sexting me. My number is 0401 Collingwood Football Club president Eddie Maguire has admitted to making racially vilifying comments about AFL player Adam Goodes. Now, just 5 days ago, Goodes was the victim of another racist taunt when a 13-year-old girl called him an ape during the Swans game against Collingwood, after which
Collingwood president Eddie Maguire went to comfort Goodes and apologise on behalf of the club and code.
Now, Maguire was praised for his commendable role and long-standing zero tolerance to racism. So if you had stocks in Maguire Corp, then by Saturday they were soaring. I am so glad I bought early. Then yesterday, though, while talking about the promotion of King Kong the musical, Maguire said this.
Get Adam Goodes down for it, do you reckon?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Or you absolutely no.
You can see them doing it, can't you?
Who?
Goodsy.
What's that?
You know, the big, but the ape thing, the whole thing. I'm just saying the pumping him up and mucking around, all that sort of stuff.
The thing is, radio has a 7-second delay, so where was the guy on the dump button?
Goodsy.
What's that?
You know, the big, but the ape thing, the whole
No.
thing. Mucking around, all that sort of stuff.
So, how are my Maguire Corp stocks doing now? Oh, I should have sold on Sunday. But look, Maguire immediately recognised his mistake and called Goodsy to apologise. Although I imagine once you've been accused of racially vilifying Goodsy, you can't call him Goodsy anymore. Now, yesterday afternoon, Maguire fronted the press in an open display of remorse, saying, "There's no ducky on this, I'm not trying to be semantic." And then he explained the incident with...
Did I racially vilify? No, I had a slip of the tongue. But what I say, was it racial vilification? Yes, it was.
So without engaging in semantics, Eddie explained he didn't racially vilify, it was just his vocal cords, mouth and the words that came out of them. You see, Maguire's ears heard King Kong, his brain thought ape, and then his mouth said Adam Goodes before he could stop himself. It could have happened to anyone. Gee willikers, Tom's doing a good job today. Keep it up, buddy. I hardly have to monitor these thoughts at all. In fact, I might take a break. Oh shit, heads up buddy, there's some dodgy stuff coming through. Eddie Maguire is a dick. Oh God, I can't say that. Ignore that, it wasn't me. I mean, I know I just said that, but I don't believe it. And so Maguire, who does have an impressive record against racism, said this was just a gaffe, explaining that in the old days they would have turned this into a PR stunt. You used to hear racial jokes on the television all the time and people would make a play out of it. So he was just reminiscing about the old days, the good old days. Good for white people. Because if you're trying to promote King Kong the musical, Adam Goodes is a ridiculous choice. He's not a singer. See, King Kong's the tale of an oafish giant given mass exposure to a public that eventually destroys him. And now, after all of this, when my ears hear King Kong, my brain thinks oafish giant, and my mouth says Eddie Maguire.
Step right up to the greatest show on earth. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Eddie Maguire. It's a classic tale of an oafish giant who said a terrible thing. He was dragged before the national press in order to apologise, only to escape and climb to the top of the Channel 9 building. But it all ends in tragedy when King Maguire makes a stupid offhand remark that could not come at a worse time. Eddie Maguire! 'Twas not beauty, it was racial vilification that killed the beast.
Well, next up tonight, the Victorian Parliament has recommended changes to the law in relation to sexting. You see, currently, if a child takes a naked picture of him or herself and forwards it, they can be charged under child pornography laws and placed on the sex offenders register. Because technically that child did take a photo of a child, even though it was themselves. And you don't want to be on the sex offenders registry because every time you move house, you'll have to identify yourself to your neighbours as both the director and victim of your own child pornography. But now the Victorian Parliament has recommended changes to the law that will mean teenagers no longer face the child pornography charges for nude selfies. And further to the proposed legal amendments, the inquiry recommendations include more education about the risks of being naked in the digital age. And that's an important message for people of all ages because anyone's photos can find their way online by mistake, for revenge, or just because you're super hot but think you're ugly and want affirmation from strangers online. See, it's not like the good old days when you could get naked in a game of strip poker and then get on with your life, because now these photos will haunt you forever and everyone will know you're not good at poker. Turns out we were just playing Scrabble. Now, Nick Richardson joins us. Nick, how do we stop people sharing so many naked photos of themselves in the digital age?
Simple, Tom. We stop the digital age. Get rid of digital photos. They're too immediate, there's no thought involved, and it's just snap and send. If you want to send a sexy image of yourself to your partner, consider doing it through the medium of etchings, oil paintings, or carving a tiny marble penis. The 10 years it'll take to master the art of masonry will give you time to think about whether this is a good idea, and whether or not it's too late to turn that scrotum into a fruit bowl. But if after a decade of work you still want to share it, then you'll be sharing a work of art, not 10 megapixels of regret. What's that? You'd like to see my slideshow of sex throughout history?
No, I didn't say
Slide one! What do you see here, Tom?
The Mona Lisa.
No, the Venus of Willendorf, one of the oldest pieces of figurative art in the world, and not a single trolling comment about her childbearing hips. Next slide. What's this?
The Mona Lisa with friends.
Turkish Baths by Ange. What today would be considered a hot lesbian dorm room is instead voluptuous bathing beauties. And this?
Is that you?
Yes, it is. I call it the Mona Lisa. It's a naked selfie, but because it's an oil painting, when I apply for a job, they'll think I'm cultured.
Finally tonight, the East Timorese government claims Australian spies put listening devices into their cabinet rooms during trade and treaty negotiations over some offshore gas reserves. Now, the bugging allegedly took place back in 2004, but was only discovered recently, which either means that East Timor does not clean its cabinet rooms nearly often enough, or Australian spies are really good at hiding things. Yeah, it probably wasn't that. Now, in response to the allegations, Australia's Foreign Minister and inspiration for Julia Gillard's new glasses, Mr. Bob Carr, made the diplomatic and statesmanlike announcement that
I am bound by convention that says Australian government ministers don't comment on matters of security, intelligence, espionage.
Then completely contradicted himself by saying,
Even when what was said is plain untrue.
you see what he did there? He did the thing that he said he wasn't allowed to do. But if the bugging allegations are true, what massive advantage did Australia get in the negotiations for this Greater Sunrise gas field?
The CMATS Treaty agreed to split the government revenue for Greater Sunrise 50-50.
The advantage we got was half? That's like a Californian divorce. We don't need better spies, we need better negotiators. But this story of alleged espionage has prompted new arbitration proceedings in order to renegotiate the terms of the Timor Sea Treaty. The two countries have now appointed a third-party mediator to sort out the dispute, so conflicts prepare to be resolved. Tensions are high, emotions are frayed, snacks will be scarce. So let's join Mark Humphries now from the negotiation table.
If you two cannot speak one at a time, I will have to bring back the conch!
Mark?
Thomas, you've just caught us in the middle of our arbitration session.
Yeah, are you making any progress?
Is the TV reporter who's been assigned to oversee this dispute making any progress? No, Tom. I realise now that my experience as a peer support leader in Year 11 was woefully inadequate for this task. I don't have to listen to Will you shut up?
Now, Mark, what went wrong here?
Tom, who'd have thought it would come to this? It feels like only 11 years ago when these two sides came together and signed the 2002 Timor Sea Treaty. East Timor promised to share all natural resources equally. Australia promised to not plant recording devices in the East Timorese cabinet. Then in 2006, they renewed their vows and added a new chapter to their relationship.
Oh, so that's what CMAT stands for.
Yeah. But thanks to these allegations of surveillance, there are some real trust issues here. East Timor feels like Australia breached international law and Timorese sovereignty, whereas Australia feels like East Timor's being a little bitch.
Is that a direct quote?
I'm paraphrasing. You know, it's easy to blame Australia in this relationship, but what I've learned about high-level power politics from my years on the SRC is that the big kids will pick on the little kids, and the little kids will pick on the littler kids. The same is true on the political playground. You see, China spied on little Australia, and little Australia spied on littler East Timor.
Okay, so what's the solution?
Well, East Timor should just suck it up and find some smaller country to spy on, like the Vatican City. God knows that place has some secrets.
Oh yeah, like the fact that it's filled with... Whoa, cannot say that. Although I do think it. Good night.